All good. Tristan, Tate in the building. Thank you very much for coming down, brother. Appreciate it. First things first, I want to ask you, why do you refer to yourself as the talisman? I've never asked you this before.
You've never asked me this, and we've hung out multiple times. I think this is the first time we've ever done anything on the internet together, but we do know each other very well. The talisman, it means, I even have the talisman here sewn into my shirt. Essentially means a good luck charm. Everyone knows what it means. And I developed that name. I was given the nickname by some African guys I used to hang out with in Luton when I was very young. The point of it being that I'd saved so many people from so many bad situations, whether people have gotten into fights, whether people needed a wingman and there was a particularly unattractive girl they needed me to distract, whether they saw a pretty girl across the bar and they wanted me to go and approach her for them. I was always a good person to be around. You know, they used to call me the talisman because I was always, I'd bring good luck and prosperity to the people around me. And I think that's exactly the same. Nothing has changed over the years. I think that the people who hang around me, they grow, they learn, they do better in life. They make more money, certainly, a lot of the friendships that I make. So I like my nickname. The dating scene in Dubai. The dating scene in Dubai is a minefield. And I, luckily, feel that I'm experienced enough and smart enough to navigate it very, very well. But I can't imagine just being some normal guy coming out here, to work a normal job or on vacation with your friends trying to date women here. I think it would be a nightmare.
It really... Well, I've had 3 years of experience, and I think when you're here, the men out here, it's so competitive.
Yes.
Like, everybody here's got money. Most of the guys are pretty young. They're in shape. They have some sort of status and value that you need to kind of really stand out in some way to even qualify to get a chance with these girls.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I've met a few women since I've been here. One of them stands out in particular. I took her out on, I think, 6 dates before anything happened. Really beautiful girl, but also she was really nice. But women here, even if you do find a nice one, are very paranoid and very afraid. She kept saying to me, oh, well, Dubai guys are all like this, or Dubai guys are all like this. I was like, I got here 3 weeks ago. Can you stop referring to me as a Dubai guy? So anyway, I don't talk to her anymore. But it was a fun 2 weeks. It was a fun 3 weeks. By all means, and there's nothing wrong with having a man take you on an expensive dinner. There really isn't. But you just have to be able to tell the difference, the nuanced differences between what they're doing. So if a girl's here on vacation and she takes a picture of a $4,000 dinner, fine. Maybe some rich man's taking her out. Maybe I took her out. Who knows? And she's posting this on her Instagram story when I'm in the bathroom. I don't know. I don't care. But if she says I'm out for dinner with friends and it's a waiter taking a picture of 4 girls, her and her 4 girlfriends who live in, I don't know, Spain, sitting at the Burj Al Arab with $11,000 worth of food on the table, I'm like, okay, somebody has said, go downstairs and eat what you want, and you 4 girls come up to the penthouse afterwards, wink, wink. That's what's happened here.
In time, are you 34 years old?
34.
34. What are you looking for now in a relationship or a woman, or are you just still kind of enjoying yourself? And
I have certainly calmed down.
Yeah.
I've certainly calmed down. And you know what? I know lots of wonderful women, and I'm not going to say their names. I'm not going to say her name, but there's a good girl in my life, but also she's very understanding. I'm not looking for what I used to be looking for, which is just because I feel like I have so much potential when I put my mind to something, with anything that I want to achieve, that can't be sleeping with new women all the time. Because once I put my mind to that, it takes away the same potential energy that I need to buy myself mansions and supercars, and so I don't know, man. I'd love to have more kids. I'd love to have a big family. With one girl, that'd be very nice. 3 or 4 more children. But, you always be interviewing. You never know who you're going to meet. And you never know, like, the girl who walks past you in the street. If you don't talk to her, you never know if it's going to be your future wife or your future lover or your future ex-girlfriend or whatever. So, I like to keep my options open.
Andrew. Yeah. So I feel like I know what your upbringing was like, because he's obviously described it so many times. Exactly. Is there anything which you would want to touch upon that's different from his story? Because I imagine everything that he went through, you were going through as well, because you two have been so tight.
Yeah, the only difference is, I guess it may have been slightly harder for him because he was the older brother. He didn't have an older brother to look up to. I did. But in the same way, with advice, with things in life, I've always had his back, especially since we've been adults. But as young kids, I always had that older brother to look up to, which is why I actually spend a lot of my time. I was going to say waste a lot of my time, but I actually spend a lot of my time answering questions and talking to like young men who ask me for advice, because, I was very lucky to have Andrew there. Mm. And a lot of people in this world are just growing up with no men to look up to. And I realized that, myself and my brother and guys like you have become that figure that a lot of people on the internet look up to in an age where, the masculine men are few and far between. So I spend a lot of my time trying to speak to younger men and coach younger men. But yeah, my upbringing was exactly the same as Andrew's, but slightly more difficult for him, I think.
Yeah.
But it's easy. It's easier to sit around and play video games and masturbate than it is to get the money to buy real supercars and seduce beautiful women in the real world. It is much easier. And because it's easier, I feel like a lot of people don't want to weigh out. So I don't need to give them advice. I feel like the advice is out there. If you're watching this and that describes you, good. At least you're listening to people with a healthy mindset who maybe can inspire you a little bit to try to be like that. But the type of person who really needs this advice and isn't going to get it is never going to watch this podcast. They're not going to look at the photo of you there with your shoulders, etc., standing next to me with all my whatever car I'm next to and think, I'm going to listen to these two. So those people aren't watching. So we don't need to worry about them.
Massive. It's huge. Everybody knows who Tate brothers are. So what does the future look like? Like, you've obviously had the Hustlers University, there's been the War Room, probably a few other projects as well.
Loads of projects that people don't know about. The future for the Tate brand is simple. I believe that hopefully I stop getting mobbed when I go out in public, but I believe that the influence I'm leaving on young men is a legacy that's going to last longer than I continue to do YouTube. I talk to people when they bring their sons around me. Their sons are 9 years old, 10 years old. They know every single second of every video I've made. They're telling me about things I've spoken about 4 years ago. I'm like, Jesus, did I say that? And I believe that these young men who are so, let's call it obsessed with the message that me and Andrew put across at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old are going to grow up to be happier, stronger, more functional men and adults. And I think that's the future of the Tate brand. I think in 6 or 7 years, myself and my brother may decide to vanish from the public eye a little bit, I'll concentrate on raising my kids, stuff like that. But so far, I'm happy with the way things are. With Dad dying, it was a simple matter of, okay, you can let this destroy you, which is an option, and people do this all the time, drink themselves to death, I don't know, start cutting themselves, whatever stuff people do to cope with difficult situations, or you can be sad anyway, because you're sad either way, and work 18 hours a day. And in fact, I said that the time I was working the most, when I was around 27, 28, I think he died when I was 27. So you can work 18 hours a day, not let anything distract you, and stay focused on the mission, so that way you have less time to think about it, and you can be sad while you're working. And then, when you start to come to terms with everything, you've got millions of dollars, as opposed to, I've come to terms with everything, but I'm in a rehab clinic. Because the idea of going broke didn't scare me, which sounds crazy, even being who me and Andrew were. Just like, okay, we have 31 cars between us. We're very reckless with money, and I still am, because I earn a lot. But I think our second supercar, when we bought that, it wiped out our entire bank balance. I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't wipe out my entire bank balance for some frivolous purchase, which is going to go down in value. I wouldn't do that now. It's made me ever so slightly more responsible, because I understand that I now have someone who depends on me. Not just someone who depends on me like my mom, who could get a job if anything went wrong. She's 2. So she depends on me, and it's my job to provide for her. So it's a really cool feeling. It really is. And watching them grow up is a pleasure. Girls and boys are very different. Girls, one, pick a mom who isn't a hoe. That helps, because the woman influences the daughter. So pick a girl who's good. Have kids with her, and by all means, spoil your daughter. Buy her things, take care of her very well. But make it very clear to her that whatever man she's looking at when she's older in life, whatever man she wants to date, whatever man she's going to potentially go to, is the man who takes care of her after I stop taking care of her. So if I have a daughter, I do, and she turns 17, and she's like, Dad, I've got this boyfriend. He's a 33-year-old beach guitar player who makes money by playing guitar on the beach in California. I'll say, okay, cool. You love that guy? Good. Bye. Give me those car keys. Give me those Chanel handbags. Give me all that stuff I bought you. That's the guy who you've chosen to take care of you now, good. Have fun being poor. And if you're happy, you're happy. You know, but you make it very clear that the choices that they make in men are the choices they're making for their future. Boys, it's super easy. I am going to make my sons work. Simple as that. From 3, 4, 5 years old, I'm going to have them boxing, training. I'm not going to buy them nice clothes. If I have a younger son and an older son, it's going to be the same system as me and Andrew had. You know, the clothes and the shoes get passed down, hand-me-downs. I'm not going to buy them anything. I'm going to make it very clear that I am rich and they are poor. And if they want to be rich, they're going to have to go through what I went through. You know, Gordon Ramsay, the TV chef, this is just one example, but he makes his kids fly in economy and flies first class with his wife. Everyone, oh, that's mean. No. My daughters, maybe, can sit in first class with me. My sons are back in economy if I take them anywhere ever. But they're paying for their own plane tickets. I'm just going to be really, really hard on them. I'm the kind of guy that if you break up with me, if you think I'm going to be in my room with my laptop out on Pornhub, you are wrong. If you've broken up with me, then good. You've got about 24 hours to make up with me, or there's going to be somebody else in my bed. Because if you're not, like, I think that would be very cruel as a man if I would somehow make an argument and break up with my girlfriend, then go sleep with other people, and then get back with her. That would be some sort of trick, some type of manipulation. But if you're a chick and you want to break up with me, good. You got about 24 hours before there's someone else, at least around me. So don't waste, don't break up with me for stupid reasons. And this girl understood this very well, because every time she'd ever break up with me, there would always be someone new. Number one has to be get in shape. It has to be get in shape. I mean, obviously you take getting in shape more seriously than almost anyone I know. But even myself, I was out of shape at the beginning of this year because I had some problems with my arm that I was fixing, and I couldn't train. I just looked at myself in the mirror, even though I wasn't in horrible shape, just thinking, Jesus Christ, this is abysmal. So and I think that the standard the standard you set on yourself is what's attractive. Yes, the great body and the physical shape comes with it. But I feel like women are attracted to that in general. I mean, there are athletes, there are boxers who, they are a bit fat, MMA fighters. A lot of them, look at some of the heavyweights, are not in the best shape in terms of bodybuilding aesthetically. But the fact that they're up every day learning how to fight, working, training in the gym, it does something to your mind as well as your body that women find attractive. So that has to be number one. And with smoking and with drinking as well, it isn't cool if you don't pay for it, if you don't pay for your sins. And I tell young people this all the time, because the number one thing I hate about cigars is when young people, fat, chubby young people, out of shape young people, put a cigar in their mouth and tag me on some Instagram stories. Say, look, I'm Tristan Tate. The cigar doesn't make me, Because I smoke and because I drink, you have to super pay for it. Because most people who like to party and drink as often as I do look fucking horrible. So for all the young guys out there, that is very, very good advice. If lay off the booze, don't smoke. If you do, make sure you wake up at 7 and train in the gym for an hour or 2 hours. Because if you don't, it's going to have very negative effects on your health.